What's up, everyone? Today we're going to be looking at how to set up Smartlead for cold email from scratch, and this is the exact way that I did it. Now, there are a lot of cold email sending tools available on the market, like Instantly, Lemlist, Milkshake, and Woodpecker. Most of them work at the basic level though. Smartlead is the one that holds up when you start sending at serious volume across multiple clients and multiple campaigns simultaneously. The good thing is about Smartlead is the inbox rotation is built in, and the campaign management interface handles dozens of active campaigns. The reply inbox consolidates all replies across sending accounts into one place, and the pricing does not scale with the number of contacts or emails sent, which matters when volume is the whole point. Now for the lead list, we export it as a CSV from Clay after the verification and upload it into Smartlead manually. It's a simple process and it keeps things clean without overcomplicating the workflow. Now this doc covers exactly how to set up Smartlead from scratch as a complete beginner, how to configure it correctly, and launch a very first campaign that sends reliably. Now, if you're new here, my name is Dominic Schwantes. I'm the founder of Workflows, a B2B AI lead generation agency. I document everything I do in real time, the campaigns, the systems, and the results. And what you'll find in this document is based on what actually works, not just some theory. So step number one is obviously to create an account. So go over to smartlead.ai after this video, of course, and create an account. Now, Smartlead offers a free trial to test the platform before committing to it. And the paid plans are structured in a way around the active leads in email accounts rather than email sent. Now, for an agency, the agency plan allows multiple sub-accounts under a single master account, which is very helpful, keeping the client campaign separated, so it's very clean. Now, once the account is created, the first thing you want to do is connect the sending email accounts. But before we do, I've included here a screenshot of all of the Smartlead plans. So after your free trial, you'll be brought to a page that looks very similar to this. Now, they've included a nice diagram up the top here that you can see the amount of emails and verified prospects you get per month. Now, what you'll find is not actually the sending limit you'll hit first. The problem, I can't draw, whoops. The problem is actually this guy right here. Now, my first campaign was at least 3,000 contacts, so I actually had to upgrade before I even finished the campaign, which is not ideal. But if you're testing, just be aware that you will only be allowed to send 2,000 contacts on that base plan. So most people will just opt for this. Now, if you're worried about the money, just think about how many emails you can send on this plan, 30,000, and I guarantee you'll make $100 by the end of that 30,000 contacts. Now, step number two is connecting the email accounts. Every email account used for cold email needs to be connected to Smartlead before it can send campaigns, obviously. Smartlead supports Google Workspace and Microsoft Outlook accounts. Now, in terms of connecting these accounts together, in Smartlead, navigate to email accounts on the side menu and click add email account. Select Google as the provider, and then it will prompt you to do all of the authorization via OAuth, and then sign in with Google Workspace account and then grant all the permissions necessary. The account appears in your list once it's authorized. Now, obviously repeat this process for every inbox. Now, if you're smart and you're willing to pay a little bit more using scaled mail, they'll do all this for you and you don't even have to worry about this step. But this is for beginners going start to finish who want to do it all themselves. Now, I've included, it's the same process for Outlook, obviously. So I've included a diagram here for you guys, what it would look like. So after you click add email account, you'll be brought to this screen and then you just connect via the OAuths very simply, like so for each individual one. Now, if you are using scaled mail, they usually do a split on the recommended plans. It's usually a 70-30 split. For Outlook, it's the 70 and Google's the 30, just due to Outlook being able to send less emails per inbox, which we'll cover later down in the video. So the important thing is configuring per account sending limits, which we'll actually just get to now. Once an account is connected, configure the sending settings. Now, this is really important. The daily sending limit, particularly for newer inboxes, is 10 to 15 and up to 25 for a fully warmed up inbox, with at least 2 weeks of warm-up history. Now, obviously 4 weeks is ideal, but do not exceed the 30 inbox per day limit. Now, the time between emails, it doesn't really matter. Just set it as a random interval inside of Smartlead in the campaign settings. This creates a natural looking pattern and less likely to trigger rate limits. And for the sending schedule, obviously just put it inside of business hours. That doesn't really matter. Now, it's important to know that the reason why we talked about that 70-30 split earlier is due to this right here. Now, Outlook has a higher or a lower limit than Gmail does. So Gmail, you can send a max of 25 per day comfortably with being safe. I don't try and measure with risky limits just because I don't want my accounts to get flagged and shut down. So with Gmail, you can send 25, and with Outlook, you can send 10, just so you know. But that's at warmed up levels. Now, when you're at the beginning, it's probably 5 to 10 in the first couple of weeks during the warm up period. And then if you're using scaled mail, they will ramp it up slowly. But you can just get Claude to map out for you the gradual increase of these numbers. Now, setting it up via the warm-up period. Now, Smartlead has a built-in warm-up feature, which is very handy. You just enable it in the account email settings per inbox. Now, the daily warm-ups start at 5 per day and gradually increase those. Enable auto ram up for Smartlead to handle this automatically for you. And the warm-up reply rate, set that to around 30 to 40%, which stimulates the realistic reply patterns that build a stronger reputation. And the duration is minimum 2 weeks. The amount of guys that I coach and that come to me saying, oh, my emails got tanked, and they started sending like after 5 days is mind-boggling. It will get flagged and your domain reputation will be absolutely tanked. So please, minimum 2 weeks, guys, if I can draw today. Nice. Now, 4 weeks is safer for brand new domains, but you can safely start sending after 2 weeks because Smartlead keeps them in the warm-up pool after they start sending, which is great. So you get to those extra 2 weeks whilst you're sending, which is fantastic. Now, just leave the warm-up alone, even if the inbox is live. Smartlead sends warm-up emails alongside the cold campaigns to manage the inbox health, which is just what I just said. Now, creating the campaigns. Navigate to the campaigns and click Create a Campaign. Give it a descriptive name, niche, offer title, and date. For example, Landscaping AU, April 2026, direct pitch. Now, uploading the lead list is very easy. You just drag and drop it from your Files Explorer or iFinder on Mac, whatever it's called, into the little box inside of the Smartlead campaign settings. Now, the CSV needs to be at a minimum first name, last name, email address, company name, and really, if you're following some of my templates, and the state as well, because that's one of the first lines of the email. If you haven't watched those copywriting videos, go back and watch those on the channel before you come back to this one. Now, click upload and map those columns to the Smartlead fields, and then check that the email column is mapped correctly. This is the most common source of errors, is that the columns are not mapped properly. Now, Smartlead does show a preview of the very first few rows after you upload, so just verify that is all mapping correctly before you proceed to the next steps. Now, writing the email sequence. In the sequence builder, add the email step first. Paste your cold email copy in. Now, Smartlead does support spin syntax. If you haven't caught up on those other videos, I'll show you very quickly. It does vary per email provider that you use. So if you are using something like Instantly or any of those other ones, it will be slightly different. So check the documentation. But for Smartlead, it is just a curly bracket. Horrible drawing, by the way. Ignore that. Something like that. And in the first line, you can put hi/hey. And this is a straight line, by the way, for Smartlead. And hello. And then close the curly bracket. And then Smartlead, oh, that was horrific. Goodness me. Okay, then Smartlead will then automate and customize where or how much each of these vary depending on the pool. So if you've got a pool of 3,000 leads that you're sending to, they will customize that at random so you don't get flagged for spam or anything like that. Now, if you have already run your copy through Claude for spin syntax, just paste it directly in. Personalization variables use double curly brackets, matching the CSV column names inside of that. So if you are linking to a variable, it's just like this in the copy. Now, for a two-step email sequence, add the second step and add the delay in between of at least 2 to 5 days or 3 to 5 days, depending on whichever you're comfortable with, but minimum 2. Now, the follow-up should be a different angle, not a reminder that the first email was sent. Now, assigning email accounts and tracking settings. Assign the email accounts that will send this campaign. Now, Smartlead rotates sends across all assigned accounts automatically. Now, for 500 leads with 10 inboxes, sending 25 per day, that's obviously 250 cents per day across the pool, and you'll cover that full list within those 2 days. Now, please turn off open tracking. This is one of the things that I got stumped with when I first got started. I couldn't figure out why all of my emails, when I was sending test emails to myself, why I was getting that look safe warning because of this. If you have open rates on, it will give a warning on the sending recipient. So we go based off of positive reply rates as opposed to open tracking. It's just not sustainable. Now, the open tracking pixels definitely filter or signal to the email provider, whether it's Google or Outlook, that this is a spam. So definitely remove that because it will improve the deliverability. Now, step 5 is the launching and the monitoring. Make sure it's active, and Smartlead will begin sending according to the schedule limits and the days and times that you've allocated for each individual inbox. Now, the unified inbox, which is very handy. All replies across all campaigns and sending accounts flow into the Smartlead unified inbox. Instead of logging into 10 different accounts simultaneously, every reply appears in one singular place. Positive replies get responded to directly, and negative replies and unsubscribes get removed with one click. Very easy to monitor. So, what to check? Email sent. So the total number sent so far. The reply rate, which isn't really that important, but the total amount of replies divided by the total send, which includes the negative split and out of office replies. This is the key metric here. Now, my first video on the channel, or one of the first, was that I got a 22% positive reply rate with my first cold email campaign for staffing and recruitment agencies. If this number is north of 20%, you've done something right. If it's low of 10%, you've got to check something, whether it's deliverability or your copy's just awful. Go and watch the other videos on the channel. You shouldn't have copy or deliverability problems. But this subset is marked as positive, which this metric is the most important, I would argue. Now, if your bounce rate is higher than 2%, big problem, particularly if you've gone through the clay route using zero bounce. Maximum you should be getting is 1.5%. Now, if it is significantly higher, the list wasn't verified properly, and you should go back to clay to ensure that everything was run and cleaned properly. Now, the other big thing I'm going to beg you guys to do not make changes to the campaign before it's finished sending, unless there's like an absurd circumstance where it makes sense. The amount of people that have sent like 5 days worth of emails and they're not even halfway through and they've just like turned it off because it's not working. Do not do that. Our number one friend in business is data. You can't make an educated decision unless you have the numbers to back it up. So you can change one little variable here and actually monitor the change. So let it run in its entirety, particularly if it's your first couple. So you actually get the data and then you can make the educated change based on the data that you have. So the common mistakes when setting up Smartlead: too many emails per inbox. If you're getting north of 30 per day, you're just absolutely tanking it. So add more inboxes if you want to send more volume. They're very cheap. Your domains from like Namecheap or GoDaddy is like $12 a year. It's like really cheap. It's really affordable. Now, the other common thing is not running your warm up long enough. Minimum 2 weeks. Should not be any lower than that. Obviously, 4 weeks you'll get to whilst it sends in the next 2 weeks if you're using Smartlead. So that's fantastic. Leave open tracking on. Turn it off before launching. I thought I almost made a mistake. I wrote this as like 5 a.m. this morning. Yes, turn it off before launching. Definitely do not leave it on. It will tank your deliverability. Now, using one inbox for multiple unrelated campaigns, make sure you assign dedicated inbox pools to specific campaigns where possible. Now, I also have a list of emails and inboxes on a warm-up just in the back end. So in case something happens, I can just change out the old and in with the new. And if I've cooked it, then I can just buy new ones and it's not a problem. Lastly, not verifying the lead list before you upload. Always verify through Clay and Zero Bounce before the list goes anywhere near Smartlead. This should take you like max 5 minutes, guys. If you've watched the videos we've done on the channel, it's literally like maybe 3 columns that you have to worry about, and Zero Bounce is one of them. And if you pay $99, you get unlimited emails. And if for some reason you don't use all the credits, just save it for the next time you run the next campaign, and the credits don't expire. They just fall over, so you can still use them, which is awesome. Now, this is the full setup checklist, so you should be able to check every single item off of this list. Obviously, create the Smartlead account and select your plan. All email accounts are connected via OAuth. The per sending limit should be 10 to 25 max when it's fully set up, not in the warm-up period, obviously. Make sure your send interval is random. Sending schedules should be set to target business hours. I go, just to be safe, 9:30 to 4:30 a.m. for Eastern Standard Time, but you can go 9 to 5 if you want. For warm-up, enabled on all accounts with auto ramp active. That's just a Smartlead setting that auto does it for you if you don't have scaled mail. Warm-up running for minimum of 2 weeks before the cold email campaign launches. Your lead list should be verified through Zero Bounce with only valid emails. If you go up to the top, you can just filter through only show me emails that are verified, or that produces the result of verified. So after you get Zero Bounce in one column, there will be another column where it shows you the result of that column, and just sort for verified only. Get rid of all the catch-all emails and the ones that don't exist. Now, make sure the campaign created has a descriptive name so you know exactly what it is, and ensure the CSV is uploaded and the columns are mapped correctly. The email sequence is written with spin syntax, really important, and personalization variables are inserted correctly, which you can see in the preview. Now, the follow-up step should be added within 2 to 5 days and with a different angle. Do not say just pushing this up to your inbox, like people will just delete that. Now, with email accounts assigned to a sufficient pool for targeting large volumes. Now, if you're not sending between 500 to 1,000 cold emails a day, you're not going to get very far. I'm just going to keep it 1,000 with you. If you're sending 100 emails per day and I'm sending 1,000, I'm literally 10xing your volume, which is why I'm getting 10 times the result. And it's not that expensive to send 500. So even if you're starting out, minimum, okay? Now, make sure open tracking is disabled and then launch the campaign and unified inbox monitoring is turned on in your brain. Now, what does this all mean for you? Smartlead is the infrastructured layer that does everything else, and everything else runs on top of that. Get this set up correctly once, and it handles the mechanical sending work automatically. Now, the setup takes a few hours if you do it manually. After that, adding new campaigns takes under 10 minutes once the lead list and copy are already done. This is the whole point of the business model and the building system part early on. Now, if you are smart, like we said, use Smartlead. They help you a lot. And once you've done the clay setup initially, it may take you 30 minutes to 40 minutes at the beginning to get all the tables, and then literally every time you have a new niche, you just go duplicate, and then it literally just copies all the columns over. You drag and drop the CSV that you got from Boomerang or wherever you got the lead list from into the clay table, just click run all, and then you're good to go. So make sure you subscribe to the channel. We have daily videos being pumped out at the moment. If there's anything you'd like to see, make sure you leave it in the comments below, and I'll make a video about that specific topic. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in tomorrow's video.